Alright guys, welcome back to Valorant News. The trash talk and the drama continues at the Valorant World Championship. 2 more teams eliminated last night, and NRG looking to get revenge indeed on Bilibili Gaming. They will play later on the tournament, but also Alpha from Fnatic calling out Demon1 and saying that he's looking forward to playing them hopefully later in the tournament so he can shoot his body and teabag him every single gunfight they have. Very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Now first of all, we must go to this post, which was, I'm pretty sure, revealed ahead of their intended date, let's just say. So we find this on Valorant Esports, and on the left hand side you guys can just about see the 14th of August. Now today is not the 14th of August, as I'm sure you guys could have told, so I think that they were meant to release this just after the weekend was over, but it's been revealed a little bit early. So what they run through is the Valorant off-season in the various regions, what is going on. So there's a load of tournaments that are happening. Some of them are actual proper LAN tourneys in certain regions. Some of them won't be available to every team. A lot here in Brazil. We've got this women's one, and I know there's been a lot of discussion in the EMEA side especially that there really isn't that much going on. So there's a few things in North America, or just in the Americas in general. There's this cool one presented by Sean Gares, it seems, and if we scroll down to the bottom here, we will find this one where it says at the bottom here, Ludwig X Tarek Invitational 2. More info coming soon. So that's exciting stuff. The Pacific has their fair share of tournaments as well that I'll just quickly scroll through, you know, some various leagues, Rebel Homegrounds, this type of stuff that's happening, and then, you know, like a LAN in India. And this is why people are like, hang on a second, this doesn't seem right, is that there's quite a lot of LANs in the various other regions during the off-season. Cool stuff, right? There's going to be a lot of stuff to keep up with and watch, hopefully, during the off-season, which is going to last probably longer than maybe it should, but there's a lot of things happening. You get to EMEA, though, and there isn't really that much. A lot of this is just online tournaments. There isn't really that many LANs. I'm not sure there's anything for like the game changer stuff in Europe, and you know, maybe the viewership in that region isn't as great as the other regions, so you can understand why they might not do that. But still, there isn't as much in EMEA, like anywhere near as much as people were hoping and expecting for. So as Ardiis says, who is, okay, he plays in the Americas, but he's, you know, European player, I suppose, initially and by heart. 0 events in Europe, he says, and Leo Farrier goes. Now, again, probably not the best response from Leo here, just because I think I know what he's trying to say, but it doesn't come across in the best way. So he says, EMEA will spend the off-season polishing their trophies, apparently, upside down smiley face. So, you know, it's a bit of an interesting statement. I guess he's saying, oh, you know, well done, Fnatic, you're probably going to win champs again. But he's also, I think what he's trying to say here is that he's not happy with the way that this has been structured. I think he wants more EMEA events. He's done this upside down smiley face as in like, you know, I'm not particularly happy with the way this looks because we have lots in the Americas and in the Pacific and really not much in EMEA. So, you know, there's region will be forced to polish trophies rather than actually play stuff. So I think that he would, it seems to me that he'd probably want it a different way, but it doesn't come across. Maybe this reply isn't worth making because it's just going to raise questions as to exactly what he thinks about this whole saga. And even Durka says, fraudulent region anyways, got more lands in India than we do in Europe. You know, we do. You're coming back to EMEA, which is interesting, right? Just we'll see what happens with NRG. Ardiis looked great yesterday for sure, and if they continue this trajectory, then NRG might stick their roster into next season. But Ye is lurking around the corner, and they might think about potentially bringing him back. Before we get to champions, quickly on Disguised Toast. Can you believe it, baby? Because they're actually, well, he is looking to bring DSG back, and maybe it's because there's quite a lot of tourneys here in the off-season their team could potentially play in. Yo, who's the best Valorant coach available? Thinking of starting a team again. So, of course, he had that Game Changers roster briefly, and potentially going to be bringing back their actual main roster as well, which was a disaster last time, and hopefully it goes, surely it can't go any worse than before, can it, for DSG? So hopefully it does happen. Wonder who they'll get. You know, Raucous, there's other candidates out there potentially. But there's clearly something in the air in Los Angeles that's causing every player to talk obscene about some trash at the moment, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. So Demon1 has been saying, oh, like, I don't care what you guys think of me, and doing this whole, you know, doing this whole spiel that he does, saying, like, I just don't care. And it's obviously working well. It's having the desired reaction. People are saying, oh, this Demon1 guy is such a loser and all this. And, you know, fantastic. People want him to lose. Some people want him to win. That's what we're here for in terms of storylines. Now, Alpha on stream with one of his friends actually talked about this and said that as far as he's concerned, he's annoyed by Demon1. He better watch his step, I'm letting you know. So I'll share the clip here and then we'll look at the translation.
Ben Demon1'a çok kıl oldum ya.
Niye? Ölülere ateş ediyor diye mi?
İşte, he ben de yani onlara karşı oynamayayım yani. Ay ayağını denk alsın o.
Ne
Haberi
demiş
olsun
sonra
onun.
duydun mu? Beni eleştirenler sikimde değil.
İşte onu gördükten sonra daha çok tilt oldum. Oynayalım, her vurduğumda t-back atacağım işte.
Senin onunla bir hesabın var zaten.
Evet, bir de tek
Senin
atmıştım.
aklını
Sonra
almıştı
kaybettim.
aynen Split'te. Evet.
Bir kere de ben aklımı aldım.
So this translation might not be perfect, but it does seem about right. As he says at the end, like, you know, after I saw him say that about I don't care what people think about me, I was more tilted. Let's play. I'm going to teabag him after every time I kill him. So is this good or bad for Demon1? Like, Demon1's either, you know, maybe he's getting in Alpha's head in some respect. Potentially, that's one way to look at it. Or he's riling up Fnatic to absolutely try and take him down the next time they play. And I think a lot of players, a lot of teams will have that feeling when they play EG that, you know, there's some extra motivation to try and beat them. But, you know, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So I'm excited by the prospect of this. Alpha versus Demon1, yet another storyline to keep up with. And there's a lot lately, and it's been good to see. Now, let's talk about Crew and Giants Esports. I predicted Giants to win this series. My predictions so far have been relatively decent. It might not last forever, but I gotta say, we're looking okay so far, because I thought this was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. Because Giants take them down, it was pretty competitive, right? Both maps are competitive, but Crew go down 2-0 and actually fails to win a map the entire tournament, despite being the team that made the miracle run from 0-9 or whatever, actually 0-10 probably wasn't it, because they probably lost at the lock-in event as well, to qualifying for champions somehow through the LCQ. And to be honest, I think their season's been very interesting because they were definitely underperforming their level. 0-9 didn't do justice to the fact that they were a respectable team during the regular season. But at the LCQ, I think a lot of people probably knew that they overperformed to some degree. I don't think they were actually as good as they looked like they were at the last chance qualifier. And people are going to say, oh, they didn't deserve the spot, like, you know, Cloud9, Sentinels, 100 Thieves, they died for this. But still, I think that all of those teams have had a hard time in this group anyway, because this is not an easy group that Crew found themselves in. For example, is Cloud9 a better team than Crew? I think that possibly is the case, but look, they 100% deserved it, Crew. They did what they needed to do. They somehow won the LCQ and made it through, but I think that probably what we saw here from Crew at this tournament was the level they're actually at, rather than the level, like their overperforming level and their underperforming level that we'd seen earlier on in this tournament. But they don't win a map, they get close, but they don't win a map and they go home. So, you know, again, people are going to say, oh, well, NA, just one team region and all this. But, you know, lots of regions right now feel like one team regions, to be honest. Now, as Giants Fatinho says, like, kind of, he mentions here this word basura, and this is like garbage or trash or something. And this is the words that Kang used in some respects to refer to this team, or at least to refer to the way that Kang and EDG look at their opponents. But regardless of whether that was a mistranslation or not, now it's for Giants to try and get revenge on that matchup they played earlier on. And I actually believe I'm still going to take Edward to win that series, because I predicted Edward and Paperworks to go through the group, and I really want to see EDG versus EG. So I'm going to take Edward to win that series again in the rematch, but I actually do think that Giants have a very good chance of beating EDG on the second time they play them. But we'll see what happens. That's not today, that's going to be tomorrow's games. Kesnit drops 47 kills despite the loss. Lotus was 13-10. Pearl was 14-12. Crazy overtime, but Giants eventually knock Crew Esports out of the tournament, and they continue on to play the rematch against EDG. The other series of the day, only 2 yesterday, was NRG versus ZETA Division, and this was almost like a classic NRG or Optic shenanigans, right? Map 1, super competitive, all over the place, went all the way down to an overtime, and there was a ridiculous, well, firstly, like, Chet is such an interesting guy, I'm not gonna lie. I can't believe, I mean, look at this guy. How does he look so tired all the time? Is he, like, was he actually waking up from a nap here, or what is going on? I can't believe he looks like this every hour of the day, but he just does. It doesn't matter, like, how wired this guy is. He's always looking like this. And Lat's got a really clean ace. Look at this. The first shot, and then, like, all of these shots were really nice. The second shot, the third and the fourth were, I mean, this one was fantastic as well. And then putting himself in this position to get 4, and then the one tap on the 5th for the ace. And that set up a 12-11 advantage. NRG bounced back into overtime, took a crazy overtime in the end, NRG did. And then there was another ace here from Depp on Game 2 Haven. But it's funny to think about. Literally the only rounds that they won was this just insane ace here from Dev. But FNS just turned on pure masterclass mode, it seems, on game 2 of this series, and they took this one 13-1. The most dominant map we've seen, gotta be, right, of the tournament so far. Even Fnatic haven't had a 13-1 yet. They might try, they might see FNS with his record of this nice little 13-1, so Boaster might think, alright, let me get a 13-0 in the next series we play, and I wouldn't put it past Fnatic to do that. But, I mean, yeah, still, wow. NRG, great turn up from these guys, and I know there was some drama here, there had to be a replay. I think there's some glitch with Crashies or with Sky that Crashies was using where the cabbages, right, the Seekers, they don't fly despite the voice line being played. So they had to be reset and they had a bit of an issue with that. But eventually it got resolved and NRG advanced. Now, the good storyline here is that Billy, it's unfortunate for ZETA, right? I think they did pretty well, but unfortunately they had to play Fnatic and NRG, and I think that on the whole, those two teams are going to be favoured there. Big storyline here, of course, is this is another rematch, right? So Billy Gaming took down NRG in the very first round that they played, and NRG were, shocked by that, like, what's going on? They bounced back well, for sure, against ZETA, and Ardiis made the point very clear that they are going home 100% likelihood.
And my last question then, do you have any words to say to Billy as you face them for that rematch?
You guys are going home, 100%. Guaranteed, I promise you that.
All right, he's saying 100%. We're going to have to wait for that match as we send it back to you guys. Thank you, Ardiis.
Thank you. No worries. Thank you. God bless.
So what do you guys think about this going forward, right? Will BLG be able to take them down again? I think that I'm hoping for a competitive series. My heart says, my brain says as well, that NRG will just do better, right? And they'll win the next time around. This is just what they do. They start slow, they come back. They should beat BLG. They're a better team than BLG, I think, for sure. But I hope it's a competitive series in the rematch. It's not happening today, it's happening tomorrow. But even Ardiis is definitely playing the juju man a little bit here. He says, next game against, I forgot the name. You guys remember there's a bit of trash talk going on there, right? The Chinese teams versus the American teams. We had, was it Hoozy, right, who said a few things about NRG after the fact. So it's definitely spicy, and I thought this is pretty funny as well. So Valen says, Billy is coming. Chet says, the bench is coming for you, little bro. My watch is worth more than your first place Ascension winnings, which I thought was pretty funny. But these are the overall numbers. 2-0 to NRG. Game 1 again, 13-15 on bind. Really crazy series. We don't have the full numbers here because of that reset that I mentioned from the Sky bug. But at 13-1, even, I mean, this is a ridiculous map. And Sugar 0-3 frags. Ardiis top fragged the second map of the series, and it did definitely make a statement here. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. These are the 2 games of today. There are 4 games remaining. Each one of them is a qualification game. Na'Vi versus Loud is first up. This is going to be really interesting to see how this concludes in Group D. My prediction for this group was DRX and Liquid to make it, but Liquid haven't made it. So I'm going to take Na'Vi, because my hot take before the group stages was that Loud wouldn't make it. So that's what I'm going to go with. T1 versus FUT Esports. It's funny because FUT Esports clearly were the better team the first time they played T1. So I really have to change my mind and take FUT Esports to win this one. But I did predict T1 the first time, so I'm still a little bit unsure of that. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.